So how did you become vegetarian?
Hello everybody! Today we are visiting the Hare Krishna temple in Swansea and we are asking everybody how they became vegetarian.
I became vegetarian when I was something like 13 years old. In school they showed us a video of what animal slaughter is like, how badly animals are treated when they're, reared to be killed, and it was a very, spine-chilling video. Practically the whole class of students became vegetarian the next day, although I think me and maybe one or two others were the only ones that stuck at it, I was, very happy as a vegetarian for something like 5-6 years, until for some reason at some point I decided to start eating meat again, for one year maybe or something. But then, at some point when I started to get more into spiritual ideas, and somehow or other the taste for eating meat and the desire to do it just faded, and I didn't feel comfortable with it anymore, so I came back. So I lapsed a little bit and came back to it. But what was interesting was friends of mine who, at the time, it was like a domino effect, I became vegetarian, someone else and someone else, and then, before you knew it, our whole sort of group of friends was, and yeah, for me it's so much more appealing, and so much more satisfied. It's not like a difficult struggle at all, it's like there's so much delicious varieties, unlimited varieties of food you can cook and eat, and it's tastier, healthier, cheaper, and better in every way. So I recommend it to anyone. Hare Krishna.
So I became vegetarian for a couple of reasons. I was around 17 when I liked this boy that I was working with, and he had recently just gone vegetarian because he had a dream that one of his cats was being skinned alive. So then immediately he went vegetarian. And then around that same time I was kind of preparing my dinner, which was chicken at the time. And then as I was preparing it, it just suddenly started looking very, very strange. And you kind of seeing it for what it was. And then for the few meals after that, it was just in the back of my mind that this wasn't quite right. So then just to kind of rid myself of anxiety, I let go of the meat, and that kind of helped because it was impetus because I like this boy, and then we could be vegetarians together and whatnot. So yeah, that's my story.
I became a vegetarian. I was in New Zealand, and there was a very lovely older lady who practices bhakti, and she challenged me. She said, why don't you just try it for 1 month? Just try it for 1 month. What harm can it do? And essentially, I never looked back. From that point, I said, yes, I will try it. And I never looked back. And I've been vegetarian ever since. So that's probably around about 5 to 6 years now. I'm not too sure. I can't lose track of time. But it was only then when I looked into why being vegetarian is so important for the health and for the environment. And then once you start to get an understanding of consciousness, then you're understanding that this is a living being, and then and not to eat meat because it's a living being and not to cause harm to them. So then the meaning becomes a lot deeper over time. But initially it was a very wise older person that I listened to, and that was how I became vegetarian.
So I became vegetarian after realizing that I didn't like meat necessarily in the first place anyway, and it became more of a realization to me that we aren't cavemen anymore. We don't need meat to survive. We have the resources to eat things that are not that, and it just fell into place, essentially. And it was switching isn't hard. It's one of those things that it comes quite naturally, and you're able to discover a lot more what food can do for you if you eliminate the meat product, because it doesn't carry as much as you think it does when it comes to sustenance.
I was traveling in India and I found a book called the Bhagavad Gita, and when I started reading it, I found out there was these people called devotees who were Hare Krishnas, and when I met them I instantly understood that I wanted to deepen my understanding of this book, and in order to do that I had to follow certain principles, one of which was not eating meat, fish and eggs.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I became vegetarian when I was like about 9 years old, when I can't remember why. I think I loved animals, so I didn't like the idea of killing animals, and it just was like a natural thing. And then like later on my dad was kind of just like, no, it's fine, you can eat meat, and I was like, okay. And so I started eating meat again, and then like I think it was around 13 I properly like made the decision for myself, like no, I'm not having meat anymore, it's weird, and I didn't like the taste of it anyway, so I just like 13 years old I became vegetarian, and then went vegan when I was about 16, just because I didn't know what was wrong with milk until my friend who was a vegan, she kind of was like persuading me, like saying no, this and this, and when I found out the cow industry was quite bad, then I stopped having milk, and then I started having milk again when I joined the Hare Krishnas, because they had like options for non-violent milk, and at first I didn't like it because I didn't understand it, but I started having like milk which was from cows which were protected, and and then now it's just like any milk. But yeah.
Well, as I got into spiritual life a bit more, meditation, that sort of thing, I feel like my consciousness shifted a bit, and I realized pretty soon that I wasn't satisfied with meat. It wasn't really that tasty, and I don't know, I just felt kind of bad after eating it. So I wanted to delve or try more vegetarianism, like more fish, and or towards that direction, you know. And then it kind of just gradually, I ate less and less fish and animals, and then I actually became vegan over a period of time, like a few months or so.
Haribo!
Okay, so I became a vegetarian because I can't remember how. I think I was like 16. No, maybe I was 18. I can't remember. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Me and my sister, we went vegetarian together, and it kind of clicked that like I'm eating an animal, and that's literally a living being. And how can I like differentiate myself from that animal, that dog, and that cow, like that chicken? Like what makes me give me the right to eat that living being that had the right to live? So I actually remember when I was younger, I can't remember if it was Asda, they found horse meat in their burgers, and everyone went absolutely mental. Yeah, and I was Tesco's, yeah. And I was just like, and then as I got older I realised like, why is everyone going mental about that, yet we're like butchering animals, like millions of them every day, just because it's a horse and not a cow, that's wrong. So I just think, yeah, they have much of a right to live as I do, and I realised that when I was around 18, and that's why I decided to turn vegetarian.
So I grew up in a little village in Germany, but usually everyone eats meat, you know. So my family, I was quite contaminated, and but at one point I was just like feeling a bit like unnatural, you know, with these kind of things, and I moved over to Berlin, where there's obviously a bit of a different scene, and I met some people. And I got more on the like state of mind and not like buying like meat, and more getting like when it comes, you know, then I was eating it like when I went back or so, but I was never going to a shop or something and getting something. And then I remember when I went over to the devotees to Wales for the first time, and I met Ruini, and I told him the same thing. I don't buy anything, but when I get invited I just have it. And then he was just like, I think you probably won't mind if you don't eat meat at all, you know, you can just make your own choices. And I was like thinking, yeah, that actually makes sense, you know? And also we have this amazing food here, and in Temples this vegan ice cream, I think. And then I was thinking, actually, yeah, you don't need it. And why should you take it? And then it came really natural.
When I became Krishna conscious. And when I realized that there is a soul in every living entity, how can you eat another soul? That was for me, was like, okay, no more living entities in my body, I'm not going to consume them anymore.
So what about vegetables? They also have soul.
Yes, indeed. Trees have souls, they all have souls, but we don't eat a tree, we eat an apple, we eat its fruits. And we eat an animal, we eat the whole body. The animal is dying, but the tree is not dying when we take his apples. So.
Very nice. That makes a lot of sense. Thank you so much.
Okay, so I became vegetarian when I was 15, I think, so that's been 6 years now. After a friend of mine became vegan and told me the ethics behind what was going on in the factories and the manufacturing process, and I have always been an advocate for environmentalism, and so I became vegetarian. And I started coming to Govinda's in Swansea because it was vegetarian, and yeah, then slowly learned about the environmental aspects of being vegetarian and how it can lower your carbon footprint, and then gradually over the course of understanding my spiritual journey and Krishna consciousness, I learned more deeply about the nature of the soul, and that every living being is a spirit soul, and they deserve the respect and love that we give other fellow human beings. So it just became easier then to become completely vegan. So I've been completely vegan for maybe 2 years now, and yeah, I'm a strong advocate for the plant-based diet from an environmental perspective and from a spiritual perspective, and it's the best thing I've ever done for my health, for my consciousness, and I truly believe it's the way all the human beings need to go in order to protect Mother Bhumi and ourselves, really. So I guess that would be my testimony.